head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, Anthony Lynn, is called into the program. How are you, Coach?
I'm doing fine. How you doing this morning, Rich?
I'm doing great. I'm better for chatting with you.
That's good to hear.
So, how did you find out about one of your top corners going down in a conditioning drill? I mean, how?
It happened. It happened right in front of me, and Jason and I are really close. He's worked so hard to get back on the field, with the injuries he's had in the past, and we just running a conditioning test, and he looks good. He's in great shape, and he's just running, and he goes to the ground. I thought it might have been a cramp, but had no idea it was an Achilles, and it was an emotional moment because we all knew how hard he worked to get back, and it was. Feel bad for Jason, but we all love him, and we know that if anybody can get through this, he can.
You're right, and it's just again, you've only been there just for a couple of years, and you've been around the block, the NFL block, and know there's really no such thing as being snake bit. But I just don't understand. I mean, right? I mean, Hunter Henry goes down earlier this year, and it just seems that these things happen to the Chargers, Coach. I'm wondering how do you process this?
I think if you are a Charger, I think you may think or believe that, but when you look around the league, it happens everywhere, Rich. It's happened other places I've been, and when I got here, I know we had a pretty bad record in injuries, and I thought last year we took a step forward with that, and I'm still hopeful this year that we can. I know we've lost a couple guys early, but I think everyone goes through 2 or 3 of these, so I don't think it just happening to us. I look around the league, and sometimes I wonder, these athletes are getting bigger, stronger, faster. The technology is better. The medicine is better. Supplements, and sometimes they seem more fragile. I don't get that. But it is what it is.
It certainly is. But there's one thing that the Chargers have potentially that no other franchise can state. Certainly, if a tight end goes down, is the possibility of reaching out to somebody like Antonio Gates. Is that a feasibility, Coach? As we're chatting right now?
It's possible. We're talking, no doubt, and Antonio has shown some interest in coming back, and right now we're talking, trying to see what we can get done.
Anthony Lynn, Chargers head coach, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. What was it like being hooked up with Phillip Rivers for a season? What'd you learn about Phillip that you might not have already known, Coach?
A lot of it, when you play against San Diego, you go through their personnel and you talk about the player's psyche and their skill set, and you look for any advantage or disadvantage, when you're the opponent. But so I knew a lot about Phillip because we played San Diego a lot. But being here with him, it's just it's everything I've heard. He's a coach on the field, and this guy studies film no different than I do, and we share philosophies, ideals, and that's great to have in your quarterback because you know that when he's on the field, he can get people, he can help people around him, and that's a real good feeling. But he has a lot of passion to him. And I've seen the other side of that passion. And
I was about to ask you, what's it like when he thinks that he's got a convertible 4th and short, and you send the punt team out, Coach? What's like that? What's that like?
We had a couple of blow-ups last year. And I'm like, don't let the competitive side of you get the best of you. But I want to take some chances on 4th down. But a lot of times it's depending on the situation. But he just has so much confidence in himself and the people around him that he just believes that it was a 4th and 7. We actually had an argument on a 4th and 7.
Where on the field? I mean, not normally, not that would matter, but I'm just wondering, just what the particulars of that.
We were about at midfield, but he was like, we can get this, and you love that about him, though. You love that, and you don't want to take it away because that's just a part of his fabric, and that's what makes him special, But it's something else.
Anthony Lynn, Chargers head coach, joining me here on the show. What do you think year 2 you are going to be better equipped, for the lack of a better phrase, to handle in real time, or with extra time you've been thinking about it from year 1 to year 2 of being an HC in the NFL?
Well, I tell you, Not one particular thing. I just think, in year two, you're more familiar with everything. Your coaches, your players, and the schemes that they do best. And so hopefully I'm going to put these guys in better positions to make plays and work to the strength of this football team. There were some things last year that I was really trying to instill and build in this team because I believe there's certain things you have to win a championship.
Like what?
You have to have a balanced attack. You can't just be everyone wants to say this is a pass-heavy league and all that. When you look at, the teams that are in the tournament every year and the teams that are winning the championships, those teams are in the top 5 in rush attempts. You have to be balanced. In the National Football League, if you're just one-dimensional, a defense can take that away. They're that good. So you have to be balanced. But, sometimes you run to set up the pass and your pass to set up the run. But I know last year I wanted to instill that physical mentality in this team and that grit. And there were some times I was a little too stubborn. And that's going to come with time. And until that time comes, you got to play to the strength of your football team. And hopefully I can put these guys in better position this year to do that.
When you mean stubborn, Anthony Lynn, what do you mean you were too stubborn?
Let me tell you, we played Denver in that second game. We were on the 1-yard line on the goal line, and we run that ball 4 times in a row on the 1-yard line. And we could have run a run action, and we would have scored like that. I mean, it would have been an easy touchdown, but I wanted my guys to know that they knew we was running it, we knew we was running it, and we were going to out-physical them. And that was a defining moment for me. And I was like, that was the first time this ever happened. I've ever been stopped. And, but that was me being stubborn. We won that game, but, I would hate if we had lost that game because that was me being a little stubborn, trying to prove a point, trying to instill, football is physical. It's a physical contest, and you're always evolving. You're always growing, but the one thing that doesn't change about this game is the physicality. And at the end of the day, the team that's most physical wins majority of the time. So that's something that's a mindset that I want us to have, but that comes with time, and that comes with personnel.
Well, when you want to talk about physical nature, the other side of the ball for you guys, I mean, we've had Ingram on this show, and he wanted to talk about nothing except hunting quarterbacks. I mean, that's it. I mean, and you got Bosa on top of it as well. How does that group rank for people that you have seen on the other side of the ball in your coaching and playing career?
They're right there at the top. I've seen a lot of dynamic rushers, and Mathis and Freeney, in their heyday, and even in our division right now. You've got Von Miller on one side, and you got this new rookie coming in, Chubb, who I really like, and then you've got the other kid that was there with them last year that was hurt. I forget his name right now. But
Shane Ray.
Shane Wright, yeah, I watched him in Missouri. I mean, he can go. And you got Kansas City, you got Ford, and you've got Houston, and in Oakland you've got Mack, you've got Irvin. So you have these edge rushers everywhere, and we're not the only ones. But I like the 2 that I have, and their work ethic, their mentality. Yes, they want to get after that quarterback. But what I like about them is that they're unselfish too. They root for each other. They do things to free the other guy up to go get the sack, and they're starting to play more run defense. You're asking pass rushers to get down to 6 techniques and 5 techniques and defend the run, and they will do that because they're not selfish. Now, some teams you get guys they just want to go sack the quarterback and they don't care about defending the run. Well, our guys know that's something that we have to be better at this year. We didn't fare too well in that area last year, and sometimes that's common with the pass rush team. It's hard to stop the run when you're trying to hit the quarterback. And so we have to just find that balance. But our guys, they will do that.
Couple more minutes left with Chargers head coach Anthony Lynn. We've been knocking on your door for a bit to get you on the show. You were supposed to be on last week, but you went to the funeral for Tony Sperano.
Yeah.
I'd love to give you the floor and tell us what that was like, that ceremony, and seeing all your colleagues that were there for Coach Sperano.
I went to the viewing on Thursday, and the service was actually on Friday, which is the day we opened. So I spent all day Thursday there with the family, and I've known that family for a long time. And Tony and I were longtime friends, and his son and I coached together for 4 or 5 years. And his wife, Jeanette, is just the sweetest lady in the world. So, he's done. I'm a better man for knowing him. I can tell you that. But it was a wake-up call for a lot of us coaches. There's a lot of coaches there, and we all sat around and we talked, and we just couldn't believe that our friend wasn't here with us anymore. But we as coaches sometimes we work these long hours, and we have to take better care of ourselves, and we have to make sure that our health comes first. And not to say that Tony didn't, because Tony was on top of his health, but it still happened. And so if it could happen to him under those circumstances, and seeing some of the best doctors there in the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota, it could happen to any of us. So it was sad, but it was a reunion. That's one thing about the NFL. It is a close fraternity, and no matter what team you're on, we all come together and we're all one. So one brotherhood. And Tony kind of brought us all together that Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, and Parcells was the HC of those 2 years where you were there in Dallas with him. Do you find yourself sometimes throwing a Parcellsism out there every now and then when you're now the HC in LA here?
He's one of the smartest guys I know in this game, so it's kind of hard not to find myself doing that. Mm-hmm. He never complained about his personnel. He just always said good coaches find a way to win, and I believe that regardless. Last year we struggled with some kicking situations, but this was never an excuse for me. We've got to find a way to win games even when one phase is not performing as well. And I just don't think there's been anyone as good as Coach Parcells in doing that. So, yeah, I find myself using some of his information.
All right, that bandwagon, that Chargers bandwagon's getting filled up from what people are talking about, Coach.
Yeah, you know how bandwagons are, though.
What are they?
You better win. So, we certainly plan on winning. We're working on it right now. We got a lot of work to do. A lot of good ingredients. We're kind of baking the cake right now, and it's not finished yet, but I like what I'm working with.
Coach, appreciate the time. I'd love to have you in studio whenever you are up for it and free. Thanks for the time. You got
we'll get it done, Rich.
Yeah. Have Phil put the quarterback van that he takes to work all the time. Maybe you can come up together in that thing. In the RV.
We wouldn't waste any time because there's a lot of preparation going on in that van.
I bet. So. All those 4th and 7 plays he wants to dial up. Thanks for the call. You take care.
Rich.
You got it. That's Anthony Lynn. How about that?
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.